I don't see any days off in the near future because I'm trying to like measure up to someone like Andy. What is going on, beautiful people? My name is Josh Moxey. Today is February 3rd, 2019. The time is 2:58 p.m. and today's Reflections 30. And I'm excited about that. It's cool to see episodes climbing, and yeah, I think they're just phenomenal tools that are going to age quite well, I must say. Anyways, so what the point of Reflections is at the end of my week, I like to reflect, and then after I'm done reflecting, I like to come on camera and start recording video and a podcast for the documentation of my week. And I hope in the process to bring you some nuggets of gold that you can learn in real time. I also hope to document my journey in a given week and like to almost timestamp it permanently, so that at any point in history, I can come back and be like, this is what went on in my week. And it's also a great reset. So if I don't have a greatest week, I can make sure I am taking away what I need to take away and apply it to the next week. It's also it's a great way of resetting, reflecting, etc. I am rambling at this point. Let's get fucking started on Reflections. What's been on my mind? I've been wondering a lot about if this current thesis, if you will, the documenting of my journey, the talking about myself and my journey and my lessons that I'm learning, what's working, what's not, etc. All these type of things, whether it's Reflections or the smaller videos or other series that are like kind of related to that. I'm wondering how much, or if this thesis is actually going to work long term. And there will be changes, of course, because it's an ongoing, evolving, constantly growing and change. Like it's a growing thing. But I know that in order to get to a different place, there will have to be changes that occur. And I'm just trying to figure out how big and how small, and what kind of tweaks are going to be involved. Am I going to have to change my thesis a bit? Is it going to be like less centered around me and more about other people? And when I say that, I mean like, should I start bringing guests? Should I incorporate people in my network? Like what are those next steps? And trying to figure out, is my content too self-serving? I feel like a lot of it is documentation, but the goal for me is documentation plus helping you with bringing you lessons or things you can apply or that type of thing. Because there are so many just pure documentation videos that I don't post just because I'm like, it's just helping anyone. There are going to be things here and there though that I do post and I feel like I'll be documenting more and being a little bit more self-serving in the future just to get some certain things out there. And the closer I get into real time in my content, the more documentation will occur. But I think that stuff's good for if it's not serving in that moment, it is serving long term as like a wow factor. I'm thinking of certain videos where they don't provide pretty much any value up front, but long term there will be like, Jesus, this is incredible. I can't believe he posted this at the time and now we can all see it type of thing. Like that's so cool. It's just a different form of value. But anyways, it's very top of mind. I'm like, what's going to change? What's going to stay the same? I'm open to changes. However, it just has to stay in line with my intentions and my purpose around all this stuff. And yeah, I'm interested to see where it all goes long term. I don't know if it classifies as a something on my mind or what's been on my mind type of thing, but I just have not been feeling as lined up as I usually am, and in terms of my goals, my vision, my dreams, my targets. So yeah, would like to return to form soon because it's fucking annoying. And I honestly just feel like a little bit crazy right now. And when I say that, I mean, there are just times where I'm just reminded how different I am compared to the rest of the world. And this is one of those times. And especially just thinking about like, just how different my life trajectory is and how strange it is. And yeah, So that has definitely been top of mind. Just like the fact that I would like to not have a job, for example. It's just such a weird thing. And yeah, I don't know. I just like these types of things are just very different from the rest of the world. And that is what's up right now. What were my favorite wins? Okay, so usually I do my wins in my weekly reflection, but I completely forgot to do them. So I literally just like hopped off camera. That's why you might have seen the angle and positioning change on the camera. I just fucking hopped off, did it, hopped back on. We're good now. Good thing is, well, quote unquote, a good thing. It's not so great, but I did not get a ton done this week. So that needs work next week for sure. But let me go over my favorite wins. Greek God 3-day split. Fucking loved that. It was also good to get leg day done, even though that was still tough, but it was not as hard as I thought it was going to be. On Moxey Energetics front, started working on the website for Squarespace. Squarespace is a phenomenal tool. I'm very impressed by how easy it is to use from a non-technical standpoint. It's just overall a fucking phenomenal tool. And as it stands right now, I recommend the tool. I have more to dive into it, but I'm just impressed with it all right now. So that's been good. I've been playing around with that, getting used to that, clarifying the ideas of the website, how I want it to look, the layout, specific design aspects of it, starting to work on the design for that, all types of random stuff like that, but not enough in that area. But I'm just grateful there is some progress in that area. Content. I am up to date with reflections now in terms of editing. Now it's just a matter of rendering them and posting them and detailing them. So as it currently stands, I'll be uploading 25 today. And then I am up to editing on 29. The editing is way harder than you might think. Like, it takes a decent amount of time, surprisingly. But I'm glad for the progress in that area. Some joshmoxey.com work, but nothing too crazy. Although my favorite thing that I worked on within joshmoxey.com was something called Smart Image, which loads the proper sizing of the image before the image loads, so you don't have to worry with that like awkward loading phase type of thing. So that was really cool, and it like loads with the color beforehand, but I could also down the road implement a blurry image, if you will, effect. It's not really a blurry image, it's a low pixeled image with a blur overlay on it is actually how it works. So that's what you see on Medium type of thing. And yeah, but I really enjoyed working on that. It's been something I wanted to work on for a long time, and just having that, or like little hacks like that, working on those at the end of the day has been fun here and there. Not too often, but just sometimes. On list front, not really working on anything per se in the coding aspect, but I did continuously add to the actual content for my use, and I'm enjoying it. It's cool. Visualization. I have been working on the skill as I've talked about in weeks past, and right now I'm implementing it as I fall asleep, as I go to bed. And it's not so easy. It's still quite hard. I feel like I'm beginning to lift the weights, but they're still quite light in that aspect. But this is something that I must master, I must conquer, because it is paramount to every aspect of life, quite frankly. And creating the reality I want, I have to be able to visualize it first in my mind, because if I can't do that, I can't create it. So that's crucial, but I'm progressing. It's just very slow. I find my brain wanders a lot when I'm visualizing. I like start fucking solving world problems and shit, which I'm trying to just focus on. I'm not trying to focus on solving world problems or whatever the fuck my brain ends up doing, or just focusing on dumb shit that happens as well. I just want to focus on what the fuck I'm trying to create in my brain, but it's not so easy. But it's getting easier, thankfully, but still I am an absolute rookie in this department. What worked? The 3-day split with Greek God. So this was really fucking enjoyable. Not only was it Monday was, what was Monday? Shoulders, triceps, and back. And then Wednesday was, well, Tuesday was abs, but that's not part of the split. Wednesday was legs and lower back, and then Friday was chest and biceps. I've got to say, Monday and Friday are way better. It's so much more fun. Don't like leg day too much, but I'm developing a love, well, not even developing, I have a love-hate relationship with leg day, but it's cool to have those back-to-back leg movements. I'm doing Bulgarian split squats and pistol squats, and might fit in some other things in there too, or change it up. I'm not sure. Thinking about doing lunges, for example, and doing a more, almost like working in more athleticism into my workout, and being like less about lifting weights and more about these are just thoughts that are coming to me as I'm watching, for example, I think it's Athlean X or whatever. I don't know the actual channel name, but smart dude. But they were talking about how it's beneficial to integrate athletic approaches and not just this type of, I think it's about functional strength. That's just my quick observation of it, but I don't know 100%. Anyways, I love this 3-day split. I'm getting so much more work. It feels like that double, it feels like 2 exercises for each body part, which I love. And yeah, I've been aching a lot this week in a great way. I'm loving it. And I'm just really enjoying rest pause as well, and integrating that, which is like a different way of creating exhaustion, is my understanding, or fatigue or something like that with the muscle, and it creates a pump effect, and I'm loving that. That's super cool. It's a nice alternative to the standard like 10 to 12 reps times 3 sets or whatever that I was currently doing before with certain additional exercises. But yeah, just enjoying all of that so much. I love Greek God. It's so much fun. Listening to Ed Milet's content. Ed Milet, and I might be pronouncing his last name wrong, I apologize if I am, and he is Andy's partner in Arate Syndicate, which is like this really fucking cool, almost like society. I think that's what they call it, a society of entrepreneurs, winners, etc., who just want to dominate in life. I love it. I really want to be a part of Arate someday. I look forward to when I am. And anyways, Andy's been recommending Ed's stuff for a long time, but I finally was just like, fuck it, I'll just check it out. After Mom recommended this one podcast to me that was just like a little quick one on time management and maximizing productivity and stuff like that, and the dude's fucking smart. I'm really enjoying his content. It's also funny, so me, my mom, and Brian all seem to be really enjoying the content all at once right now as we're all kind of like jumping into it, and it's just really fucking good stuff. I recommend. Going back and forth with Mom with rough ideas. So I had the tendency to want to climb in a hole and just build something and then jump out of the hole later and then show the world. It's not the greatest approach. Like, I thought it was good at the time, not so much now, because you can start building something that's not actually needed, or you can start going in the wrong direction. So with Mom and I, while I'm creating this website, I'm just quickly going back and forth with her, because I don't want to go too far in one direction, and I don't want her to go too far in one direction either. So it's like we're keeping each other on track and not going too far in our own little cocoons, if you will. And that's really worked well for me. I have much work to do in this department still, and I think the higher my self-esteem goes, the easier this is to do this, because I used to almost like be insecure about what I'm showing people, because I identified with whatever I was creating. And the less you can identify with it and just embrace the roughness, I think the easier it is to do this. And then ultimately, the easier it is to get product market fit, or the product, or the correct product, or whatever the outcome is you're looking for when you're creating something. Chugging coffee in the morning first thing. And that's an asterisk there, because it's actually the second thing. The first thing is me chugging 500 milliliters of charged water from Source Energy Medicine. And where I go with that after is so first off, why do I have a coffee just sitting there when I first get up? The night before, I do my French press. I get all that ready. I take the grinds out. I put the coffee back in without the grinds into my French press, and then I leave the French press on my desk with my mug. I pour it into my mug in the morning, so it's cold at that point, which I'm fine with, because I just want the coffee. And then After that, I drink the coffee and I'm unable to go back to bed because my brain is like wired and my whole body is really wired from the coffee. So at that point, I'm unable to fall back asleep even if I want to. And many times I do. That's my big challenge. I'll come up with reasons why I should go back to bed because I love sleep so much. So with this, I could just lay there in bed and I'll be like, what the fuck am I doing? I can't go back to bed. So it's a great way of keeping myself up once I'm up and or forcing myself to get up when I need to. What didn't work and how can I improve it? Waiting until the end of the week to reflect completely. So it is a challenge for me to remind myself and remember all of the things that happened in the current week. It's so hard to remember all of the gold. So the best way I have previously was just like looking at my journal and trying to drum up memories and remind myself of what took place, but it doesn't always work incredibly well. So going forward, I would like to, instead of trying to rely on my memory or my journal, I would just like to start writing things as things go on in the week in my weekly reflection. So it's a lot easier and it turns into the Sunday becomes a process of looking at what occurred as well as adding in and filling in points that I might have missed. So it's a lot easier on my brain and then I have more energy later in the day and I'm able to extract the lessons easier throughout the week and ultimately remember more, make these reflections better, etc. Too much on my mind without dumping it. I love mind dumping. I love journaling and all these things for this aspect. It gets the clutter out of the mind. It gets the baggage, even the good things it gets out of the mind, so you can just focus on new things and more objectively look at your thoughts because they're out on paper. I love this idea of morning pages, and I actually talked about it in last week's reflection, but I just cut it out because I ran out of room. But morning pages is this idea of just like free flowing on your thoughts and just letting it all go. And this is something I got from Tim Ferriss, and it's a beautiful practice. And actually also Jason Capital, a version of this from Jason Capital. And man, this tool of however you do it, just the idea of getting all the to-dos, all of the thoughts, all of the bullshit, all of the good stuff out on paper so you can just start with a fresh, clean slate is fucking crucial, and have not done a good job of doing this week. And I did do a good job of it last week, but I fell off of the wagon this week, so I've got to get better at that again. And it's just such an amazing tool of keeping your brain less cluttered and more free and open for new ideas and faster thinking and all of these sort of benefits that I just love so much. So I've got to reintegrate that badly. Feeling too an ego and feeling too physical right now. I'm forgetting that I'm a spiritual being first and a human being second. And I've got to do things like listening to the power of now and stuff in that type of realm that reminds me that I am not a human being. I am a spiritual being first and foremost. I don't have a clear chief aim right now. It's very problematic. And when I don't have a chief aim, it leads to things like laziness, which is what's happening right now. So I'm not as driven as I should be right now. I am not as quote unquote in it as I would like to be. And I've just been kind of lazy. I'm not working enough, and I own that. And it's really I dislike it a lot. It's kind of embarrassing. So I don't like that. And with that being said, there's been times where my laptops aren't working and stuff like that, where I could be like, oh yeah, this is a time where I can just chill. I have more I can be doing in those areas. It's not just about laptop. I have a phone, I can do a shit ton on my phone. There's a million tasks I could be doing in those moments where I can't quote unquote do the laptop work. And those are the moments where I need to make sure I'm reminding myself of how many tasks I still have to do and making sure I'm pushing forward, even if it's not in the most linear way or straightforward way, but just making sure I'm hacking here and there to get shit done, to maximize those moments, because every fucking moment counts. Anyways, a good actionable for that is for sure just go back to the basics, reconnect with the vision, and also clearly define the chief aim better. And then once I'm there, things become a lot easier. But in addition to that, to kind of like correct some of the laziness as well, a great way is to pretend and go into archetypes and characters, if you will, and pretend to be people I admire, for example. So someone like Andy Frisella, or Gary Vaynerchuk, or Elon Musk, or even like a fictional character like someone like Tony Stark, who is just awesome in so many fucking ways. So someone like that, you immediately just get a burst of energy when you would imagine, okay, what would they do in this situation? How would they act? What would they be thinking, etc.? You just become them temporarily, and it's a really cool hack for generating motivation, if you will. What were my biggest lessons? I've been learning a lot from Ed Milet recently, and he is a total gem. And one podcast I was listening to him on was about productivity, and so first off, two things. I loved, first off, that he divides his days into three. I think he sleeps for 6 hours, and so that's 18 hours a day he's awake. Within those 18 hours, he divides it up into 3 separate days, he calls them. So 6 hour per quote unquote day, and it's his way of getting 21 days out of 7 days. And it's really cool because the longer you give a task, the longer it's going to take. The shorter you give a task, the more you're going to be focusing on getting it out and maximizing the per hour output, as well as focusing on only the essential things. It's a great thing that's also covered really well in 4-hour work week, for example. But he also does an incredible thing, which is at the end of every hour, he checks in and asks himself, what did I get done this hour? How am I? And I think he doesn't ask these questions, but I'm sure the intention's there on these next questions. I assume he says something along the lines of, how am I measuring up? Am I on track to win this day? Am I not on track to win this day? How can I self-correct? How can I course correct? What's working, what isn't, etc. Just like a real-time learning and keeping yourself accountable, and making sure that you are working in a fast manner, you're I don't even know how the fucking word, I can't come up with a word right now. I am very the amount of things I'm repeating right now in terms of saying a lesson and then having to redo it is hilarious, but that's a completely side note. Anyways, I'm really enjoying his content right now. It's really fucking helping me. So I gotta listen to that podcast again because it's just too good, and I want to apply it because I haven't done a good job of executing the 3-day thing, but I've enjoyed implementing the per hour update. Fear of boredom holds me back. I have noticed that the tasks that I should be doing, the mundane tasks, and it's not to say I should be doing mundane things, but there are tasks that are very, very important that I just find quite boring, and I have to do them in order to get where I want to go. And I care too much about this idea of being excited all the time and really enjoying everything I'm doing. And it's not always going to be every task that is in that type of energy or realm, if you will. So I've got to learn to figure out ways of gamifying boring tasks and making them more fun, because there are ways of spinning things that make it a lot more enjoyable, thinking about the benefit that goes behind that boring task and what it's going to create, stuff like that. I just know that and it's also a massive leg up on people who are too fancy to do those boring tasks, and it'll ultimately be a reason why I will win, or another reason why I will win, because I'm not too fancy to do boring shit, and I've got to make sure that that is a part of me going forward. More meta content lessons. I realized that basically all of the content, the vast majority of all the pieces of content I make are around the topics and reflections, meaning they are either something I'm thinking about, a win, something that's working, something that's not working and how I can improve it, a lesson I'm learning and how you can apply it yourself, a practical lesson or a theoretical lesson, just various types of lessons within there, a challenge I'm going through, somewhere where I'm growing, or something that I'm obsessed about. Typically, they all fall under those. And there might be a pattern as a section as well, but I haven't integrated sections, or I haven't integrated patterns into reflections yet. Might do that soon. But they all just fall under this category for some reason. I never thought about it like that. So if I'm ever lacking on content, but I do want to create, it can be very helpful to just think about those type of sections, and it can create the inspiration for me to do something, because I can see all these possible examples of where XYZ could fit in, and go from there. So I thought that was pretty cool. And ultimately, the thing that is the foundation of all of those things is locking it into history, documenting it to make it permanent forever. This is nothing new, but this is a good reminder that something that is applicable to everyone. When you are properly in motion, and when you are in the process of achieving and gaining progress and expanding, learning, all of these things, you forget about the doubt, the fear. Like when you're properly in motion on a worthwhile goal, dream, desire, etc., vision, the bullshit just falls off. All of the meaningless stuff just ceases to have importance. It becomes very minuscule. And if you're having a lot of struggles with those right now, I challenge you to be more in motion, because I find myself when I'm in less motion, when I'm going slower in life, the more I start to put those things higher in importance, and it can become too big, and then I'm like, fuck, like they seem also powerful, but they're not. They really aren't. When you're properly in motion, the shit goes away. A lack of learning is the biggest thing I'm missing right now. So from 16 on, I've been identifying with this label of obsessive learner, and yeah, I'm obsessed with learning. I love it. However, I haven't done a great job recently of living that as much as I should. I've done a much better job in the past of wanting to learn all types of things, whether that's skills or different types of information or new types of information, or trying to think of familiar concepts in different ways, trying to extract all the lessons of everything, trying to integrate all of these things into my brain, trying to make them literally part of me, all of this stuff. And I just don't think I've been doing a great job with that. And I feel like something's missing right now. And I think that definitely has a big aspect towards it. And it's just, I know that it brings me so much happiness and so much fulfillment and satisfaction when I'm properly executing on that thesis of just learn everything, learn as much as possible, learn or master the basics, all of those types of things. And also on that note, I've got to do a better job of reframing the basics in a way where every time I'm learning, it's a new way. I'm strengthening it. It's a muscle, it's a rep. And I can never have too many reps on the same type of workout, if you will, or exercise. So yeah, a very key part of documenting is making sure you are bringing value to the listener and the watcher. It is very easy to be very self-serving with content. I was listening to Gary's 6-hour podcast or whatever from Agent 2021. And in it, at one point, he said something along the lines of, I think it was Justin, one of his former teammates, who wanted to do the documenting thing, like, and be quote unquote Gary V, if you will, and document his journey. But then he's like, I missed it. Like, I don't think he was bringing the proper value he wanted to, or something along those lines, because then he switched to interviewing people in a very, very short manner, as far as I understand. And my takeaway from that was, because I haven't dug into it yet, but my takeaway was that he was probably being very self-serving and not aiming to bring a ton of value in his documentation. And I think that the people who long-term find creative ways of bringing value in their documentation are the ones who win. Because if you are purely self-serving, it is not going to be something that is awesome for tons and tons of people to follow. People who care about you will follow, but it's going to be harder because you're not aiming to bring value to the end consumer, the listener, the watcher. So I think it's fucking paramount to come up with creative ways, if you're trying to do this yourself, of just looking for interesting angles and ways of making your content worthwhile to watch and listen. There's so many different ways, but it's up to you to figure out what those ideal places are and execute upon it properly. What challenges did I experience? The power list. So I love the power list. And at the same time, it is so weird to me right now to think about the fact that I will never have a normal day. Every day starts with work. Every day starts with growing. Every day starts with uncomfort, in that the power list is designed to do those things, to make you grow through uncomfort and to expand your comfort zone and to reverse engineer whatever your vision is. That is the main purpose of that, and to execute on critical tasks. It's only 5, but it's just a weird thing to think about, the fact that I don't see any days off in the near future because I'm trying to like measure up to someone like Andy, and he does not have days off for the longest time. I have to figure out if he actually does or not. If he goes on vacation, what does he do? But just like what, I even just was flipping through, not even flipping through, I did watch most of the vlog of, I just decided to watch this Alyssa Viola vlog yesterday, and she is like one of the bigger influencers. And I'm just like looking at her hanging out with the FaZe Clan, and I'm just like, what the fuck? These guys are hanging out so much. Like, why are they not working a ton? And that's like my type of judgment on it, but I don't know. I just feel like people are fucking partying way too much. And I get that they can, so they do, but I don't know. Partying is just quite disinteresting to me. I'd much rather just grow and create and help and all that jazz. So anyways, back to what I was saying though. It's just a strange thing because I had this dream, for example, that I went on a cruise and the cruise ended and I didn't do anything on the cruise. I was working the entire time in my room. When I got off, people were like, what'd you do? I'm like, I worked. Like, so there are some like fears right now around, okay, am I going to have normal days ever? Is it like, there's part of me that wants to take like a week off, do nothing, and just come back and be like, fuck, I need work, I crave work type of thing. And another part of me is like, don't be a bitch, you don't need that. So lots of conflicting thoughts right now. And it's interesting though. I'd really like to talk to Andy about this. I also crave a lot of mastery of the power list. I think it's taking way too long in my day, and I'm letting it drag on way too long, and I want to get better ideas of how to master the power list and how to use it more effectively. I want to find ways to make sure it's getting me what I want and what I desire and all that type of jazz better. So there's definitely more to grow. Even though I've been using it for fucking forever, I feel like I'm just starting with it. Another challenge I was having is defining power list items when the project is new. With Moxey Energetics, I'm struggling to select the proper power list items because it's new. It's harder to measure, and everything has to be measured. Bless you, Taylor. And yeah, so I've just got to figure out ways of measuring things better when projects are new, because it's different. Bless you again. Like I talked about earlier, struggling with ambition right now. I'm not dialed in like I usually am. It's different. It's very different. This occurred last year, but I don't have a choice this time. I just don't. I have to regain my power. I have to dial back into my whys, my vision, etc. It's a must at this point. I have to. Also could care less about social media right now. I don't even feel like posting. It's like very strange. Not even on my story. I don't know. Just not very feeling it right now. Consuming, creating, it's just like, meh. Just not interested. Where did I grow the most? So this is strange sharing this on camera, but so Ever After is coming up, as I have talked about in previous episodes. And I was super excited for the idea of my one friend coming from Quebec. I'm pumped to see all of them, of course, but specifically one person, one I'm very close with. And I was too attached to her coming, and ultimately, I don't think she's coming now, but I was way too wound up. I was sad, I was mad, I was all of these fucking things because I was too attached to her coming, and the idea of, I had this vision of, and she was in the vision there, and then for her to say she's not going, I'm like, the vision has changed, and blah. It's just like, there was so much negative emotion. I was so wound up, like it was ridiculous. I was just ridiculously wound up in a negative manner. Anyways, I grew a lot in this area because Mom and I both did sessions on myself and like non-material source energy medicine sessions. And I woke up the next day feeling like, okay, I'm just like back to neutral on if she comes or not. And it's just like, it's a very cool thing because it wasn't rational the way I was responding. Like it just was the complete opposite. So when I am in those places, I know there is an underlying pattern that needs to be resolved in that situation. So we worked on the pattern, and ultimately that would be something that would have created itself somewhere else if I didn't tackle it then. So I'm super grateful for these types of challenges that bring out these irrational patterns and irrational emotions, because it's an opportunity for you to correct them. And that was definitely the case there, because like now I'm like, okay, if she comes, cool. If she doesn't, whatever. She's missing out big time, but I hope she has fun at the festival she chooses instead. So anyways, I love that non-material source energy medicine works like that. It's fucking cool. I love it so much. Squarespace. It's been very weird stepping into a completely new platform like this, but learning new things, trying new things, it's been good. I've enjoyed. What am I obsessed with right now? Calcium, and not what you're thinking. I'm talking about a dubstep artist, and he's really fucking skilled. He is one of the biggest up and coming in 2019, I think, and he creates some beautiful sounds. They're rhythm and very repetitive in a great way. Stuff like Mega Punch, Dome Skank. Those two are the primarily the songs I'm listening to right now, but I really like listening to it while I'm editing. And it's nice because it's like quarter notes, if I recall correctly, which means it's a very good thing for my brain to lock in on while it's listening to something else and just like make flow easier while I'm editing. So enjoying that. Also Company's new EP, and that's Company with a K, by the way. And it's such a beautiful EP. Especially I love Firewall on that EP and Take It All. Those two songs are phenomenal, but the entire EP I've been looping, and I love so much when an EP can be played from start to finish without me deleting any songs. I just like when I can have all four and just play them over and over again. So that's been awesome. It's just a beautiful track. And then like, even Seething is good. And then what is the one with Virus Syndicate? Whatever the Virus Syndicate one, I love the second drop on both that and Seething. But what do you call it? Firewall, it's just a fucking masterpiece. It's so beautiful. That probably will be one of the most listened songs for me in 2019. So yeah, enjoying that a lot. Rest pause training, 1000%. Fucking love this shit. It's a great way to give yourself a pump. Not so great for building strength, so I'm using it for only additional exercises, but using it for something like lateral raises, for example. You do 12 to 15 reps, and you exhaust the muscle, and then you wait 15 seconds, do 3 to 5 more reps, you wait another 15 seconds, 3 to 5 reps, another 15 seconds, 3 to 5 reps, another 15 seconds, 3 to 5 reps. So you're doing one starting set of 12 to 15 reps for the exhaustion, and then 4 reps of 3 to 5 reps. And it's really fucking fun. And you have to like select the right song that's long enough too to make it work. And I'm loving it so much. Reflections 30 in the books. I had a lot of challenge with this episode, and I still think it came out pretty good. There were so many things I repeated. I feel like everything got at least one repeat. It was fucking ridiculous how much I was saying the same lesson over and over again because I was fucking up so much. But we keep going, we keep persevering and embracing those fuck ups, because guess what? It's a rep. I got stronger this episode because of it, and life goes on. It's fucking minuscule in the grand scheme of things. Anyways, if you found value in this, I would love if you could share it with a friend. I would love if you could give it a like rating if you felt it deserved it, a 5-star if you felt it deserved it, or a 1-star if you felt it deserved it. Comments would also be awesome. I love comments. I want to hear what your favorite part was, what you liked the most, what brought you the most value. If you could subscribe or follow along as well, that would also be incredible wherever you are. And yeah, anyways, I hope you have a kick-ass week. I hope you learn a lot. I hope you grow a lot. And as always, my name is Josh Moxey, and I will catch you later.
Ugh.